All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our returning guest, Coach Ray Longo. How's it going, brother?
What's up, guys?
Hey,
How you doing? How's it
welcome,
going?
welcome
Very
back
good.
to the show, man. We really do. We really love when guests want to jump back onto our show because that means we're doing something right.
I was going to say, wait, do you get a lot of people that don't want to come back on?
No,
Oh,
they
good.
actually they actually text me. They're like, "Hey, can we jump back onto the show?"
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
So for these last I don't know, couple of years that we've been doing this show, or 3-4 years, I don't even remember. It's been forever. We have yet to have someone say no to come back. So
Hey,
really
there
do
you go.
appreciate it, man. Really do appreciate you jumping on.
Anytime.
Yep. And Ray, last time we had you, man, I mean, time just keeps flying by. Aljo was just fresh off a title defense. You were just having dinner with the guys. And here we are again. We're just about a month out. Aljo's about to make that walk against Henry, closer to home, not necessarily a big travel across the country. But yeah, man, very excited for that matchup. Very high profile, high stakes. How much more comfortable is it only having to travel to Newark and not to Vegas this time around?
No, I love the local shows, and this is considered a local show for sure. Even when I promote shows in Atlantic City, it's 3 hours. This is way less than that. So it's good, and it's good for Aljo, too. He gets to fight in front of his not his exact home, but it's close enough to where it's not stopping anybody from coming. So I feel good for him, too, and he's in a good spot. He's enjoying life. He's training hard, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, like you said, it's definitely like a home show because I know I did not know that Aljo wasn't allowed to fight in New York. Remember you mentioned to us last time on the show. So I was thinking that they were going to set up the fight for the Barclays Center. I had seen something about that in Brooklyn, but I remember you saying that wouldn't be in the cards for Aljo. But Newark, like you said, it's close to home. Everybody's going to show out, and Aljo's going to have a bunch of support in his team and everybody out there. So exciting stuff. I know it's been getting pretty heated between them, Coach, but what is that rumor about Cejudo having like a cut or something happened in camp, or is anything you could share with us about that situation?
Oh, man, I know nothing about that. I you know what? I'm not really my Instagram got hacked like probably a year ago. I never got it back. Oh, horrible, man. So I'm on there. When did you hear that?
Yeah, it was last week sometime or so. We mentioned it on the show that was something in camp, a cut, and I don't know how the severity of it was, but I know the fight's still intact. I mean, it's a huge fight, and it's a huge fight for the fighter's legacy. So I'd hate to be some type of replacement bout or so. And then on that note, I mean, your guy Merab showing out, dominant performance a couple weeks ago. So man, it's getting pretty at 135. I mean, nothing but killers, and two of those killers, including the champion, are in your gym daily. So,
which is unbelievable. Look, Merab, what a fight he had. I thought that was a masterpiece. I thought it was perfect. He got to prove why we call him the machine. Unlimited gas tank. I mean, I think there were people that weren't sure he could push that pace for 5 rounds. And I've said this a bunch of times. He had another 2 in him for sure. At least another 2.
Wow.
Crazy. No, I thought it was. He shut down a badass too. Peter Young will, you see his highlight reel. He will hurt you. So hats off to Merab. What a great performance.
Yeah, and the 35 division, like I mentioned, it's such a stacked division, all killers. I know there's talk of like the Umar Nurmagomedov fight possibly for Merab. Chito Vera just got beat by Corey. What matchup do you like? I mean, I know Aljo and Merab, that's kind of not going to happen. You know what I mean? We all kind of know that.
Yeah, definitely not going to happen. I like Merab and Sandhagen. I was happy when Corey called him out.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
I think that's a great fight. And Umar, I mean, I'll be honest. I'll give you the backstory of that. After Merab won, which was like 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah, they called and offered him that fight for May 13th. So, which is totally ridiculous. Isn't that crazy?
That's a quick.
That's a quick turnaround.
I mean, I think I think it goes to show you how much they like Merab, which is they don't like him. You know what I mean? Because I mean that I think that's actually insulting, and I'm glad that he had a little injury because he's not going to turn down anything. But I spoke to his manager. So that's just unbelievable that they even would offer him that at that time. So we'll see. I like the Sandhagen fight.
Yep.
Did he get that injury climbing up the rafters going after that fan? That was awesome.
No, I didn't even know he had the injury going in. He doesn't say a word. Like again, this is a guy that broke his toe in the gym. The bone of his big toe was hanging out, and he was laughing, running into the emergency room while he was filming it. So,
holy shit.
He showed it to me. He showed it to me last week when he was in. So it looks like he's got, it's a little puffed up. He's got some swelling in there, but I think they said it would be fine.
Well, he is definitely the machine, and like you said, injury like that with sideline fighters, look at John Jones. He has that same injury that happened against Chael Sonnen nearly 10 years ago, and it's still affecting him to this day as recent as
His might have been a little worse. I don't know. That looked rough too that night.
That was ugly.
That was ugly.
Yeah. But back to the Aljo fight, Aljo and Henry Cejudo. What's one thing that really just truly bugs you about Henry, and is one thing that you truly love about Henry Cejudo, Coach?
Well, I'll tell you one thing I love about him. I love the way he breaks down fights. Super intelligent guy. Listen to him, when he's watching the fights live. He understands MMA really well. And I'll tell you, oddly enough, the things that used to cringe me, with him, I actually find entertaining now. So I don't know. I guess I'm getting older. I don't really give a shit. He's a nice guy, Henry. You know what I mean? He's just looking to do his act, and it's all good. They're both really nice guys. Whatever you see them doing, it's kind of bullshit, but they're both having a lot of fun, I think.
Let me ask you something. Who's cringier, Colby Covington or Henry Cejudo?
I think Colby's way cringier. I think that's not even close.
Yeah, because I heard, Coach, I know you appear on the Anik Florian podcast, and they had asked you about the Colby Covington, like if him deserving the shot, and just him going after John, and the comments that he made, like totally unnecessary. I think everybody can agree to that. But yeah, he kind of gets it out of line. We know he's a showman. He likes to sell the fight. But yeah, I read your comments. I heard what you had to say about that. But do you believe, in fact, that he is the number one dude in line to get the title shot? Like, say Jorge Masvidal goes out there and lightning strike, KO over Burns. Is there a shot that Masvidal is the dude, or is it Colby all the way?
Look, Colby obviously is a good fighter. Does he deserve the shot? I mean, look, first off, I still believe there's a lawsuit with Masvidal that he said he had, brain damage or something. So I don't know who knows? I mean, the UFC is going to go where they can make the most money. And because Masvidal had that beef with Leon Edwards that time backstage, they probably could really sell that fight better than the Colby fight, I believe. But so. I don't think Jorge's getting past Burns. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Agreed 100%.
Yeah, it's kind of like, the way he's going into the fight, he's got a lot on his plate. He's got we were just talking about the Game Bread boxing event.
Yeah,
that weekend. Like, did you watch the event? Did you take in any of the?
No, I didn't watch the event. I wish I would have, but I didn't watch the event. No. But that's a lot when you're promoting fights. Even if you have people you're delegating to, there's always problems. Your name's on it. He had the court case. I saw him on Rogan. Look, he's a fighter. He's going to go to fight. But Burns is a badass too. You know what I mean? And he wants it. So Colby's made some money now, and I don't know. I think we'll find out. But I think that's why Gilbert's such a big favorite.
Yeah, he definitely is the favorite, and yeah, it's sort of a grudge match. Both guys are sort of familiar with each other. They have trained down in South Florida. Most of them guys have, Colby included. and they all had their falling out or so, but it's all business once they get in that cage. And I agree with you, Coach. I don't think Jorge's getting past Burns. Burns, if he looks anything as close to as good as he was against Neil Magny, I mean, we know how good Neil Magny is. He went out there and just put the work on him, and nobody's really ever done that to him. So he's coming off some.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that, 100%.
I remember what he did to Khamzat Chimaev. They thought he was going to steamroll him, and Gilbert Burns.
Yeah.
I thought Gilbert Burns won that fight.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm pretty close with you. And I'll tell you what, 5-round fight, Burns is definitely winning that fight. So yeah, I look at the Khamzat fight as a big fight for him. That's why I don't think Jorge could get past him. I mean, he dealt with a really big guy who could hit hard, great wrestling, and I thought he was just fine in that fight.
And Mark, you got anything for Coach Longo?
Yeah. How come we never got the trilogy fight between George and Matt back in the day?
I'll tell you, that's a good question. I have no idea. I guess they just wanted to move on. No, it was never even spoke about, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't know. Good question. Good question.
Yo, Mark. Yeah. Go ahead, Robert.
Right. So we talked a little bit about cringy, with Cejudo. We talked about Colby, they just love that spotlight and the way they talk. Now that the WWE and the UFC are merged, do you think we're going to see a lot more of that with fighters?
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, because we know the WWE, we know a lot of these wrestlers like to go up there and just want to own that microphone. We could possibly see Colby Covington in the ring. Because he's kind of like the WWE guy for the UFC. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think you're spot on, which is horrible. But yeah, what is? I wonder. I mean, look, Dana always wanted that model, right? But you can't control the narrative. That's why whenever you get a chance, wherever he gets a chance to, even what he's trying to do with Merab and Aljo, he wants that controversy, right? Because he thinks that sells. It's like it's like pro wrestling, but he's not going to get that. And anything can happen in MMA, and that's where that runs into a big problem. But there's certain storylines, if you look at, I think he tries to copy the WWE.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
I was going to say, there are some things that Dana does do what Vince does for WWE, but now that Endeavor, bought them out, and now that we have this togetherness with the two companies, somebody in chat was telling me that could we see where the pay-per-view events are going to be more with the bigger screens, and like how Pride used to do it. They had the background with the fighters and the pyrotechnics and all of that. I mean, could the creative department from the WWE come and say, hey, how about you do this a little bit with the UFC now? And I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll see something more extravagant, I guess, if you want to call it that way, for all these pay-per-view events.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it plays out. First of all, if Dana is not losing any control over anything, he wants those production. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if he's buying anybody telling them you do this or you do that. I don't think that's happening. But to me, and I could be wrong, I really haven't thought about it much, but I think they're two mutually exclusive companies. I don't even know you're right. Can they get more like this? I mean, maybe they're looking to bring some of those guys to the fights and hype it up that way, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see where they even cross over anywhere.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Coach, because I mean, the presser today, they were asking Kevin Holland about if he's a WWE fan or his altercation with Masvidal, like kind of stirring up the fight, kind of building the fight somewhat. Like it may in fact be that may be the fight after Saturday night. You know what I mean? But it's been the question asked to fighters. We're asking you now as a coach, but yeah, there may be little bits and pieces, the pyrotechnic. Because I mean, I know that, like you said, Dana's going to have total control. He's not really like he doesn't put on a show like that. Like back in the day, they may have had somewhat extravagant entrances. Like we've seen very few as of recent. Connor when he fought Chad Mendez, but like maybe Israel Adesanya here and there. But that may be part of it. But yeah, it's the burning question now of like every fighter. Oh, how would you transition to WWE? As if everybody's just gonna instantly just drop the belt and going to WWE. That's what everybody.
Yeah, maybe it opens up more doors that way. But you got two egomaniacs running the ship. They're not. And they're not going to budge, I don't think, with each other. And what would stop Dana from doing the pyrotechnics 2 years ago?
Yeah.
You know, he's got to. You know, I don't think it's that much of a. You know, you just copy what the guy's doing. But we'll see. I don't know. I haven't thought about it, but I could be wrong. I just think it's another acquisition for Endeavor, and they'll make money off it. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, having both companies working under one umbrella now, I hope, with them bringing in more money to the table, I do hope that they'll start bringing or paying the fighters a lot more, because it's about time. It's about that time that these fighters start making more money, because a lot of these fighters are just finding out their contract and they're going to be, going to PFL, trying to get that $1 million, trophy. Or they're going to go to boxing,
Yeah, man. Then the money thing isn't that. The only way that shifts is if they unionize. I think. I don't think it would have happened already. They don't need the WWE's money. They have enough money right now to increase everybody's salary without even denting their bottom line. So. And look, I've been, have fighters in every promotion. Honestly, even as bad as people complain about the pay, it's still the best show around, and it's still the place to be. Believe it or not, you get more, because you can market yourself for after you're done. Everybody knows who you are, I mean, the only fighters you're going to really know in the PFL are the guys that were already with the UFC. And kind of same with Bellator. It's not... Mm-hmm. There's just not even enough shows to remember the people, So, I just came back from a fight in Bellator, and I love Bellator. I love Scott Coker, but it's not the UFC. It really isn't. The perks and the little stuff, which I think everybody would rather have the money. It's still the best place to be, and I'm pretty critical of it, but I'm still telling you that,
Yeah, I mean, the UFC is the main platform to be on, because that's what all these up-and-coming fighters, that's what they strive to do, is to go and fight for the UFC, because they can say they made it, you know what I mean? Even though they haven't won the title or whatever, but at least they can say, you know what, I worked 10 years, I fought for 10 years or so, and I finally made it to the big show. I finally made it to the UFC. And, and like you said, what if they didn't win the title, but they go fight for another promotion? They'll always say UFC vet.
Yes, 100%, because it's great for marketing.
Exactly.
Why do you think they pick those guys up? Because they could use it when they're pushing a fight. So it's kind of like a necessary evil. And if you do hit it right, you will do fine. Like most of my guys have done really well. Is it what they should have? Was it what they should have gotten? No, they should have definitely got more. But did they make money where they're going to be pretty well set for the rest of their life? Yeah, a bunch of guys did.
Yeah, and that's always awesome to hear, man. I love hearing that.
Yeah. I mean, like Matt, even back in the day with Surrey, would say, "Do you think it's fair?" I go, "Yeah, I think it's fair. I don't think it's right." I mean, there's two different things. Yeah, it's fair. You made money, but you should be cut into the pay-per-view. Back then, I don't even think they had points. And he sold that second GSP fight big time. You know what I mean? Even the first thing Dana said to me when he came in the octagon, he said, "Oh, shit, he did a great job selling this fight." Nothing even about the fight. It was just the way Matt sold it. And should have been probably rewarded a little more. He made money, and he's happy. He's doing great now, but he should have made more money for sure.
And has Aljo's camp been mostly up there in New York? I know he lives in Vegas, right? And last time it was a little bit back and forth, but how's the camp situation this time around?
No, he's started out in Vegas. I think he's doing a week in California. Then he was here last week, I think, and then he went to California. Then he's going to finish up the camp here, which is good. He looked great when he was here, so he's doing the right thing.
And then a question about, well, first of all, a guy you're very familiar with. We just talked about it. He's officially being inducted to the Hall of Fame. Anderson Silva ties your guy, Mr. Chris Weidman. What is your thoughts on Anderson and why did it take so long? We were thinking,
Yeah, again, I don't know why it took so long, but, just an icon, a legend. He did a lot for the sport. Again, everybody knows who Anderson Silva is, more than a lot of other people. So, yeah, long overdue, maybe. Maybe not that long overdue. I mean, things take time, I guess. It's just I'm happy to see all these guys get the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, and then on that note too, they're always going to go hand in hand. When we remember Silva, we're always going to remember Chris Weidman. I know Chris is planning to maybe come back this summer, International Fight Week or so. Is there anything you can share with us about Chris potentially getting a fight and something lined up here soon?
I mean, I can't really nothing I could share. I mean, I spoke to him after the submission match. Even though he lost, he said he felt great competing. So I think he was just testing his leg out to see how it would be. But he hasn't mentioned anything about, he definitely wants to come back, but he hasn't mentioned anything to me. Everybody kind of moved out of the state. So it's hard keeping in touch with everybody now. I'm just glad guys come back.
That's right. No, doesn't he live down in, North Carolina or South Carolina?
South Carolina, yeah.
Right, okay. You're training with Thompson, right?
2 hours away.
Okay. Well, we got our buddy Chris Cook, our photographer. He's out there in those parts. Maybe they can kind of link up and make some happen, make some content go down.
Without a doubt, get in contact with him. He probably would love that.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question for you, Coach. UFC is debuting their new gloves this weekend. Supposedly they're going to prevent eye pokes. Have you had a chance to see these gloves, or any of your fighters try them on?
No. No, definitely. I mean, I guess they've been talking about keeping like the fingers curled, so it's hard to open them up. I'm sure that's what it is, but I don't know. Anytime you get your fingers hanging out, they'll find a way to get into your eyeball.
I'm excited to see how it's going to go down this weekend, and see if any fighters use that new glove as an excuse for losing.
Yeah, right. Because I tell you, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see him. I'm sure I'm going to see him within a couple of weeks, but this is the first week they're doing that.
Yeah, they're doing it this weekend. They had Gilbert Burns kind of showcase them this afternoon.
And was that what it was? You can't really open them up to.
Yeah, they're just kind of curved, so you can't really stretch your hands out.
That might, that's a start.
Yeah, Bellator did that. Bellator's gloves are kind of keep your hands a little bit curved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did do it first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was like, I don't know, like what, 7 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm going to say then it's not going to work. The guys are still getting poked in the eye in Bellator for sure.
Yeah,
it might be better for grabbing the fence though, because you're already hooked in there.
Yep.
Yeah. And then when they showed that too, Rudy, right now that you mention it, like I kind of do remember seeing some fighters already previously wearing it. I don't know if it was the card, the Merab card, and Jan, but there has been fighters I've seen with that glove. So I guess they just this is the pay-per-view. They're letting people know, but I have seen other fighters on previous events in the new year wearing that type of glove. So, but like you said, Coach, it just if it didn't work 7 years ago, I don't know if it's going to work this weekend.
I mean, it's always it's a great start though. I think because I tell you the eye pokes are horrible. I mean, I don't know how people even keep fighting after that because that sucks, man. You're definitely 100% compromised. But that just goes to show you how tough these guys are. You can't stop them.
The only person that these gloves won't affect will be John Jones.
That's exactly right. He'll find a way to put the other gloves back on.
Look, I don't want those gloves, Coach. I want those gloves.
Yeah, right.
I can stretch my fingers fully with those ones.
Yeah, they go the other way. They bend his fingers up backwards.
Hey, Coach, we'll be doing our UFC 287 full picks and predictions following having you on, but we do definitely want to hear your take on the fights on the card on the co-main and main. Starting with the main, it's unbelievable. It's the fourth time they'll be fighting. There's a possibility there will be a trilogy. Say Israel Adesanya goes out there and really gets the job done, put the stamp on it. Because even putting a stamp on it, it's definitely not over, right, Coach? So, what's your take on Izzy's chances going up against Alex this time around?
I mean, he'd have to fight really safe and eke out a decision, I think. The other guy's a beast. I'm picking Alex to win. I think Izzy came back a little too soon. But again, if you think about it, just odds-wise or statistically, I mean, you got to be in 10 fights. You got to be able to win one. So I don't know when, you got to remember, if he doesn't wrestle, they're basically all kickboxing matches. So I think Izzy has trouble with the taller guys, because he doesn't have that reach advantage and he can't really, stay back that much. But does he try to implement the wrestling? And if he doesn't get him down, he's not really a wrestler. Does he gas out a little bit? And you got to deal with this guy in front of you who hits like a freight train. I don't know. I think I would have waited a little longer, another couple of months, and I think he would have stood a better chance. But I'm picking Alex to win. I think he's got his number. And unless something drastically changes, I think even the first fight, I think Alex kind of paced himself. He never was 5 rounds before. He has a tough weight cut. Now that he got that out, I think he's just going to go after him a little quicker this time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's tough to pick against Alex. Izzy is the favorite, but the best way I've seen it is just like Alex. He's so green to MMA, previously a kickboxer, but he's one of those guys that it's crazy how, like, you've seen a lot of fights, been in the corner of Ray of a lot of big time fights. You see guys get knocked out. In MMA, it's kind of like Usman recently. Like, you see
100%.
And they come back and they have a lackluster performance. And like I said, definitely I believe that Izzy's coming back a little too fast. But like those K1 guys, the Glory guys, they can get knocked out and come back and like win the whole entire tournament. And that's where Alex came from.
Alex he's a badass. I mean, there are guys it's funny because it goes back to styles make fights, but there are guys way back that can beat him just because their wrestling is so good, and he's definitely gonna have trouble with a guy that could wrestle.
Yep.
No question about it. The ground last time for the both of them looked horrible. Even Izzy should have been able to submit him once he was down. But even if you think of last fight, it was Alex making a mistake how they ended up on the floor. It wasn't Izzy taking him down. Technically, I don't think, so, I think it's way easier for Alex to have got another 4 months of takedown defense than it is to, heal your chin from, he took some big shots, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Pereira's Izzy's kryptonite, man.
Yeah, without a doubt. He just looks like he's got his number. I mean, unless Izzy could do something to really change that, in his mind quick, which doesn't look like he can. Even when he rocked him in the first round, the guy came back in the second round like nothing happened. And that was at the end of the round. So he had like a minute to...
He's playing mind games. Today he came out wearing a dress and a dog collar. I'm like, I hope you get your ass knocked out just for that.
What was the purpose of the dog collar?
He's going to unleash the beast on Saturday is what he said.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're dumb. At least he didn't say, you know what, I'm going to put you on ice like Elsa. That was ridiculous. That was the worst post-fight interview ever in the UFC history.
The other guy doesn't even understand him. Even through an interpreter.
Yeah, that guy they asked him about Khamzat Chimaev today, and he didn't want to talk about him. I guess because he knows, like you said, he's not a good wrestler. Someone like Khamzat he would destroy him.
I think I think so. I agree with you 100%. And that's the problem. But that's the problem, and that's the beauty of MMA. Mm-hmm. How this guy could come in with 4 or 5 fights and beat a guy that was probably going on to be considered one of the greatest of all times too. That's the nature of the sport, and that's what makes it really, really crazy.
Yeah, and that's the way it is. I mean, you got Raul Rosa, 18 years old. He's kicking off the main card of the UFC, and that's the era that we're at now, Coach, too, where guys like that, the UFC's got high hopes on him. He's kicking off the card for a reason, so that's where it's at. I mean, I remember Chris coming in there, starching everybody out on the way up.
Yeah.
What was he, 12-0, 13-0 when he got the shot against the GOAT, defeated the GOAT, and it was all history after that. So, but yeah, you've seen tons of great battles, Ray. You've been in the corner of legends. You are a legendary coach. We do appreciate you jumping on with us. It was great having you jump back on, and just about a month out from a very high-profile, high-stakes fight. We're very much looking forward to it, and we got nothing but love over here at FightbookMMA Sitting Ringside, and great to see Aljo and you guys make that walk out there in Newark.
Awesome, man. Hey, thank you very much for having me on again. Anytime, guys. You guys are the best.